Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday, and it's time for Tough Love Tuesday's live broadcast. I'm Tracy Cromwell, your certified integrative nutrition health coach and certified personal trainer. And what is an integrative nutrition health coach? That means that as a coach, I look at all aspects of your life. So that would be anywhere from joy, career, spirituality, your finances, your health, your education. Did I mention career, home cooking, all of those things that affect your life as a whole person. And so I am bringing you guests that are experts in all these different areas to do my very best to help you live that lifestyle that you really want to live. And so I'm recording these live on Facebook every week, and then these will actually become a podcast. So if you're listening in on the podcast, these are recorded live. So with all live performances or shows or interviews, things happen. So anyway, you might hear something funny, or the cat might show up, or a dog, or power might go out. But anyway, so if you are listening, I just want you to know that we're coming live. So today, I am very excited to bring a very good friend of mine to this show. I'm bringing you Tiffany Serell. You know, Tiffany has always tried to find ways of living a healthy lifestyle. Her desire for health and wellness led her to become also a certified health coach with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And, she gravitated towards yoga as she sought out different healing methods to help with anxiety and depression. It was in 2015 that she earned her 200 RYT, specializing in Viniyoga.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tradition, and then completed another 200 RYT with Jean Massimo at Village Green Yoga. So with over 10 years of practicing asana, meditation, and pranayama, she believes in the journey of yoga as it challenges our strength, grows our confidence, and creates a sense of calm in our minds and our bodies. Her classes are filled with lighthearted energy, using breath awareness to uplift the body and reconnect with our authentic self. She's committed to yoga as a never-ending practice to better serve herself and her students. So welcome, Tiffany. It's so good to have you.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm excited to be here.
It's wonderful. I loved, I know when we met, it was so great to know that we were both IIN graduates. And again, that concept of a complete holistic being. And where I realized my journey has taken me in one area of that training, and yours has taken you to yoga. So what led you? I know that you mentioned this in your bio, but kind of explain that process of like how you just, what were your mindset? What gravitated you towards it?
Yeah. So really, I've just always been fascinated with health and wellness in all aspects. I don't know why. I don't think that there was like one point in my life specifically where I was like, I'm really excited to learn about healthy eating or just the whole person health initiative. I just had a fascination for it. And so I do remember this specifically. I was working at a small community bank, and everybody knew that, I was the go to person for advice to eat healthy or, kind of what exercises to do. And they're like, you should really do this as a career. And I was like, I didn't even think that I could do this. And so that kind of started my journey into, all right, well, where can I get certifications? Like what, just doing the research and figuring that out. I was already practicing yoga for quite a long time, tried many different forms. And the reason why I landed on the Viniyoga practice, because to me it was a very healing style of asana. And in that time of my life, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, which led to depression. I was on the verge of, I guess you could say, an eating disorder too. And so,
Mhm.
really having something that, a practice that wasn't all about the active, the movement, and more about the mental, emotional, and the breath with it. So that's kind of
Mhm.
what led me to the Viniyoga style. And then going through IIN, I again just wanted to continue to expand my knowledge on all things health and wellness there. And I was like, well, what's better than to marry those two together? Like, how can I continue to spread the word and just showcase how much it's benefited me and help others succeed in their life too.
Right. Yeah. It's really interesting how everyone has their journey. And I know that there's so many people out there that would really relate to yours, and where we find purpose in our life
Yeah.
through our journeys, and
Yeah.
so, you had, sounds like a very volatile relationship, with yourself as well as with your food. And, I was very similar, but mine showed up in different ways. I became pre-diabetic and that way. And so one thing I find, and I'm still a bit more, my mind is still very much like this.
Hmm.
So, and, I think about yoga and the practice of yoga. What's for someone like me who's very, can be very hyper and inside, and I don't want to slow down. For someone like me, I know these answers, but tell everybody, why should I go to yoga?
Well,
But yeah, what are the benefits?
so
Definitely.
first I would say, and I'm very similar in that as well, where
Oh,
my mind is always racing. I suffer from anxiety, as you know,
okay.
and to me, going to a yin class, which is holding a pose for like 3 to 5 minutes and just breathing in it, I got more anxiety in that than a flow practice because I was just in my head the whole time. But that famous saying of, the things that you don't like to do are usually the practices that you need to focus on.
Mhm.
And so, honestly, I would recommend or suggest that you just try little bits at a time and just know that not every day is going to be the same experience, which is
Mhm.
why we call yoga a practice, because every
Mhm.
day is a practice. It's something new and different. And
Mhm.
that's the beauty of it, to have those experiences. So whether it be you're going to try and just stand on your mat for 5 minutes and just sit and breathe and see how that
Mhm.
feels, maybe you want to try 5 to 10 minutes of a mini flow. Maybe, just sitting in stillness, I honestly would say is one of the most powerful things. It's really scary to me, but
Mhm.
it's an incredibly powerful thing. You learn so much about yourself, which is why it makes it pretty scary, but it opens up that vulnerability in you that you just didn't really know you had or were too afraid to uh, open up.
Yeah. You mentioned in your bio about you know having that confidence and that inner self, and that ability to go to that level with yoga. So it sounds like to me, yoga is more than it's about building strength. It's more than
Mhm.
about building balance in terms of physical, being able to stand on one leg, but encompassing you as a whole person, mind
Mhm.
and body.
Yep,
I like that.
exactly. And
Mhm.
honestly, like a lot of people are like, well, I just can't touch my toes. And so I don't want to do yoga. And I totally respect that. And if that is truly why you don't want to do it, that is okay.
Yeah.
But I would say some people's bodies just aren't made to be that flexible or to be able to touch your toes. And so we just have to appreciate the body that we have in that moment. And going back to having a practice and regularity with it, you might see that you're inching closer to your toes. Maybe not, but maybe you're starting to feel a little bit more openness into your back, or your hamstrings if you're doing like a standing forward fold. So that's kind of what I try to bring into my classes. And it's really important for me to not focus on the perfection of the pose, or alignment is obviously very important to me, but not everybody is going to look the same. And you just have to be mindful of where your body's at in that moment.
Right. I think about that too. And, as a personal trainer, about the concept of having a client come to a session, say at a gym, and their mindset can be that they're afraid to come because one thing you just said was they can't touch their toes, or someone else in there is going to be beautiful, with their yoga poses, and they're able to do it all. And so what's your, I know that, how would you recommend to somebody, to be able to come into a class, and again, where should their focus be with their mind and their thought process towards themselves? I know you answered a little bit of that, but I think there's just a little bit more. Like, what would you say to a novice that's afraid to show up?
Yeah, I would say just try, just show up and just be yourself. And I'm here to guide you. I'm here to give a lot of variations. If I'm in an actual in-person class setting, then I provide the student with a lot of different props that they can utilize. And you just remind them, I mean, I sound like a robot, but just being authentic to you and listening to your body, because no matter how much I cue or give variations, if that doesn't feel comfortable to you and available in your body, then it's not going to work. And so you might have to maybe sit that pose out, and that's perfectly fine. And then, try the next one. But yeah, just being authentic to yourself is probably the number one most important thing.
Yeah, and I think too, maybe also the concept that everybody there is really working on, their mind-body connection. And they're probably not even paying attention to you. They've got their own work they're working on. And they probably, well, they did start exactly where you were, as a novice, as someone that hasn't done it. And maybe that mindset, hey, I can be a student. I can celebrate what my body can do right now, and leave that judgment or fear at the door, and just feel that amazing ability that your body has currently, and then give it that opportunity to get stronger, and your mind gets stronger, things like that. Yeah.
I mean, Tracy, I've been told that because I don't do handstands or headstands, that I'm not a real yoga instructor.
Oh,
And we
interesting.
both know that's not true. There's
Yes.
lots more to yoga than doing those crazy poses, asana. But, just kind of going back to what you said and reflecting on that, even your breath is a practice in itself. Like just bringing a hand to your heart, hand to your belly, closing your eyes, sitting and breathing, like that can be someone's yoga practice. And that is beautiful. And that's all you need.
Yeah, I love that. And, you talked about anxiety and depression, and, so a great way to cope and to calm the mind is through breathing.
Mm-hmm.
the breathing techniques. Do you have certain types of breathing counts that you recommend, or, what are some of the things that you practice in a class for breathing?
Yeah. So I do a couple. I like counting breath, and I apologize, I am blanking on the actual Sanskrit name of this one. So my fellow yoga instructors, I apologize. But I so the first one is, like I said, a count. So when you inhale, you're breathing through your nose at a count of maybe starting at 4 or 6. And then with your exhale, you're either breathing out of your mouth or out of your nose for a count of 6 to 8. So you try to make the exhale just a little bit longer than your inhale, to
Mhm.
help with the balance, to calm the nervous system. Um, and then you can always increase. You can also add a pause at the top or at the bottom of the inhale and exhale. So you can continue to grow on that.
Right. So by adding a pause, does that mean you're sort of holding your breath for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And some people like to hold their breath for 2 counts, maybe. It just is what feels, again, comfortable in that moment for you. So
Mhm.
I tend to just start off with inhaling to 4, exhaling to 6. And then if
Mhm.
I know my students pretty well, I know that if they've been practicing with me, then we can take them a little bit further.
Mhm.
But another one that I truly love and I try to practice on a day-to-day basis is Ujjayi pranayama. And that is you're breathing in and out of your nose. And when you inhale, you are starting to breathe into the back of your throat. And same with your exhale. But when you breathe out through your nose, it's like your nostrils are going to be fogging up a window and you start to make more of an audible sound with that exhalation. So it kind of sounds like Darth Vader or like a oceanic type sound with your breath.
Uh-huh.
And you can incorporate a count with that too, because like you and I both have is a racing mindset. And so having something to focus on, which is a mantra,
Mhm.
is really helpful with those breathing techniques because
Mhm.
it completely calms the mind and the body and then balances out the breath.
Mhm.
So
That's so
it's
true. Yeah.
when in times of stress, it's so simple to just take maybe a seat and practice one of those breathing techniques to
Mhm.
help calm you down and just kind of reset yourself.
Yeah. I remember when we were he probably was a speaker for you too, but Dr. Weil.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he has, that 4, 4, 7, 8 breathing. So it sounds very
Hmm.
familiar. You breathe in your nose for 4, you hold for 7, and gently out for 8. And, it is well known medically, as well, that it calms that nervous system way down. And I love learning about these two. And
Hmm.
I thought too, gosh, what if you're stuck in traffic or you're waiting in line, things are really stressful. You can do these breaths with no one even has to know, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah,
you
it's
know? Yeah.
it's a very personal time
Mhm.
because it's
Yeah.
your own. No one sees it, really hears it, and we all have to breathe. So
Yes. Yes. I do notice, it really helps me a lot. In fact, I was just working on a continuing education class, and it was talking about anxiety in high performance sports. And it was really interesting. Learned about another form of breathing. And it's just so good for us to calm that down. And um, so when you talk about breathing, I know some people can go like this
mm,
and hold it down. So what is your what do you teach your students for, what's the body doing when you're breathing in?
So yeah, so I set my students up with the body alignment first so that
Mhm.
they're already intentionally getting that mindfulness of where you should be feeling it in your body. And
Okay.
then once they get situated into that comfortable space, then I move into the actual breathing technique and walk them through that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I add little reminders to, it's okay to let those shoulders come up a little bit with the inhale, because it really, with the exhale, you feel such a difference with just
Okay.
relaxing your shoulders. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you don't want it all the way up to your ears, but a little movement is fine. And then as you continue with that pranayama, then you don't really notice the shoulders moving up and down. Your
Mm-hmm.
the neck, the shoulders, the arms really stay
Mm-hmm.
relaxed.
Nice. I like
Mhm.
that. Very good. So we've talked about breathing. What do you have another um, tidbit we can give those that are watching before we have to go about, bringing that calm when when you need it? We all need calm right now. There's so much going on in life right now. It's very much a time of coping in some fashion. And so we know we have a breathing as a tool, and it can, if I know I was going to ask about how many times would you recommend someone did the breathing practice in a row? Is that 2 times, 3 times? What is your thought process there? And then we can move on.
So personally, I don't feel that there's a minimum or maximum amount of
Okay.
times.
Mhm.
Me personally, if I'm having a fully anxious day and I do one of those breathing techniques, and then I'm like, "Oh, I feel a little bit better, but not 100%." And so I'll do another one right after. So
Mhm.
it just kind of depends on how much time you need. Your body will tell you if you need more or if
Okay.
one set is okay.
What's a set?
Oh yeah, so doing a cycle of breath for 8 to 10 times.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, that's I wasn't sure. Yeah. So about 8 to 10 times. You can probably, I don't know if some people may hyperventilate at first because they're not used to it, but just pay attention. You
Pay
know?
attention if you're in, yeah, and that's why I like the two different models. One
Mhm.
is inhaling through your nose, out from your mouth.
Mhm.
Not a lot of people like to solely breathe in and out from their nose.
Mhm.
There's other pranayamas that you breathe in and out through your mouth as
Mhm.
well. And so it's, again, just find playing around with different techniques, I think, is fun, and just seeing what works for you, what fits and what
Right.
feels good, and something that is simple enough that you can remember in these stressful times, that you can do at home, taking a break from your day. Maybe even going on a walk with your dog. You can incorporate the breath there. So
Mm.
just kind of playing with a variety of different ways to incorporate it in your daily life, I think it's to me it's fun and it's important for you.
Makes such a difference. And I know, and I don't know about other people, but I know when I'm doing a lot of really deep concentration work, I hold my breath
Hmm.
and I realize it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, it's just
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I haven't been breathing."
yeah.
So So it's good to find, to have some kind of a breathing practice, or even sometimes for me, even when I'm doing really, like I said, in-depth, thoughtful work, set myself a little timer to check myself and see, am I breathing?
Yeah, that's
So,
great too. And there's so many resources that we have in, today that is so beneficial.
mhm,
A lot of people who have a smartwatch, there's a breathing app on there. Your phones have apps. You
mhm.
can find so much stuff on Google. So,
Yeah, yeah.
especially in the virtual world that we're living in right now, there's and a plethora of yoga classes that you can try out. So, and
Mhm,
there's so many amazing yoga instructors that are teaching classes, either free, donation based, or um,
mhm.
uh, combined with a studio. And so it's just a really cool time in our lives that we can try each other's classes. We can try different ways to incorporate yoga, whatever that means to you in
Mhm,
your daily
mhm.
life.
I love it. So, I know you have, and I'm going to put it up on the screen here. You have a Facebook page, and it's simply Balanced Health. So people can hop onto Facebook and look up your site, and that's where you announce your classes and where you can sign up for classes, right?
Yes. And I'm such a horrible social media marketing person because I'm
Oh
like,
my.
I teach Mondays and Wednesdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And when I try to think of fun or different quotes to market the classes, but I'm like, it's the same time every week. And I'm working from home, so I just have to go from one room to the other. And
Mhm.
hopefully, I mean, I haven't had to cancel yet. So that's
Yeah.
been nice. So,
Well, it's been really neat. I know I haven't been to any of your 4 to 5, but I remember when all the lockdowns happened, and I was able to take one class of yours, and I
yeah.
really, really enjoyed it. And it was, again, for those that haven't tried yoga, who are a little bit self-conscious, and worried about it, it was just a very, very wonderful experience for me. And being someone who's not very well versed with that form of physical fitness and stuff, and it really is. It's just showing up, allowing yourself to be present. When the mind wanders, you learn to bring it back. When my impatient mind wanders, let it come back.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
we can make it a lot of fun trying, seeing what happens and enjoying that process of exploration. So I would really recommend everyone, if you haven't tried it, you're nervous, or even if you love yoga, check out her site, Facebook site, and figure out how you can get into a class. And yeah.
Yeah. And I try to, I don't have a, a structure per se in my
Mhm.
classes. I open it up to check in to see how everybody is feeling mentally, emotionally, physically. And, I may have something in the back of my mind prepared for class, but as we know, like that could be completely different than what my students need. And
Yeah.
so I open it up to them and I want to cater what they need from their practice
Mhm.
because it's their time on the mat. And so I want to help support them in their yoga practice. So yeah, if anybody has any questions on about my classes, feel free to reach out. I'm really responsive on social media, and I just really truly enjoy teaching. So um, I'm open to anyone and everyone.
Yes, wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I know I was so excited. I was like, I need Tiffany to come on and talk about yoga. So I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I
Yeah,
appreciate you reaching out. This was an honor, and I'm so excited for you.
thank you, and for you too. And so don't go anywhere, Tiffany. I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody else. I'll wave goodbye too, Tiff.
Thanks.
Bye. All right. We'll see everybody, I think, on Friday on the next broadcast, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.